What's going on, guys? Today's guest is James Patrick, and he's going to be covering exactly how he went from broke to successful. And I mean broke, to where he was living on a rooftop, to where he then surpassed over six figures, sold over 61 real estate properties in his first year as a licensed agent, and acquired 3 rental properties in less than 2 years. That's crazy. Stay tuned. What's going on, guys? It's Mike Glaspie, and this is Military Cashflow. And today, Dan is not here, guys. It's just me and my main man, James Patrick. What's going on, James?
What up, man?
Awesome, man. James is he's actually a good friend. He's local here to the Fayetteville market. He's also a real estate agent. But before I give away too much, James, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself and a little bit about your background.
So just a little bit about me. So long story short, got out of high school, knew that I did not want to put my family in debt as far as with just student loans and stuff. So I ended up joining the military and stayed in there for about 4 years. Had a great time while I was in, had some pretty key life experiences in there. Ended up this, like, everybody can look back on their military career like that was some good stuff, or at least you learned some stuff, right? Got out and bounced around to a couple different things before ultimately landing in real estate and meeting some awesome connections that really kind of made a good impact as far as just direction. And that's kind of in a nutshell what really got me here as far as just an agent, team lead, and that's really it kind of as far as just different roles, I guess, quasi-investor. Like we're just getting started, so. Yeah.
And you said that you started off wanting or realizing that you didn't want to have your family in debt, right? Where did that come from?
Oh, internal desire, like for me. So, everybody knows somebody who is like their whole family is like broke people. That's me. Like literally, like you look around, like everybody is just an example of just digging a hole for themselves. And for me, just credit card bills, like low credit scores, those types of things. Was fortunate enough, and it wasn't a guidance counselor. I just had different people that I was kind of fortunate enough. So I always joke about it, right? I have multiple moms. Growing up, I had 3. I had my mom, my white mom, and my best friend's mom, and like just was exposed to a lot of different stuff. So I realized that's not the only way. And so literally kind of everybody thought I was crazy because I was in, young people AP classes and all that other whatnot, pivoted at the last minute, was like, yeah, that's not the course for me because I can't pay for it. And I didn't apply myself enough to get grants because I was just kind of, it didn't have my engagement. I'll just leave it at that. So, and I waited too late to kind of try to change that. So I think I ended up graduating with like a 3.0. And then so we ain't getting no grants with a 3.0 besides the 6 foot. There's a 6 foot scholarship out there, by the way. To everybody who does want to pursue school, that's actually a thing. You can actually get a scholarship for being 6 foot and up. Fun fact. But so wasn't getting nothing besides that. So went into the military, and that began the course, man. That was really it.
So people don't know this, and I'm only going to put you on blast because it's such a pivotal part of your story. Is I know where you started. You started in the military. There was a small transition period right after the military, though. You didn't go back home and just continue to live the same life. What was that little gap in time like for you?
Yeah. So everybody can tell you about their transition. Some people don't like. So usually what I found, people always remember the recruiter that got them in.
Yep.
And usually whatever that transition out looked like, whatever it might have been, no matter who you're talking to. And my transition out was literally me getting with my homie saying, yo, bro, like, I don't have a game plan. I am officially out, had all this time to think of this, and I don't have a game plan. So, and this dude is literally, I really hope that at some point you guys hear of Rob and Logan. and Autumn Logan. That's a whole nother story in itself. But those two women, long story short, ended up living with them, and for about 30 days before I got a job as a quality assurance guy. So I basically got paid to like make sure nobody else was dropping the ball or leaving a nut out or whatever on these subs. And yeah, that was not fun. So went from that to literally like I can give you like a list of stuff that just I attempted to be a W-2 employee, and before it just I kind of had to realize that system was not for me. And so my path into real estate, which I don't know if we're going to get into that, but that is a trip and a half. Can I roll into that?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, snap, dude. And we're totally skipping over the whole like homeless.
That exactly. That's the one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So look,
second when we transition out, and that's
oh really man.
that highlight, you know, because you know, going from broke to successful, that means many different things. But we were talking broke.
Yeah.
You know, at a point, right?
Yeah. No, like life-changing broke. Like you got to look at yourself and realize like, oh crap, this is my fault broke. I need to change me to get out of this broke. Right. like not eating for 30 days broke, and then you're pretending that it's a fast broke. Like, you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean?
I'm just on a diet.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Like, no, look, though, this is religious purposes. I'm getting closer to God with this. What are you talking about, man? I had the whole story made up, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here was my thing is what I did not realize. And by the way, at some point in life, which a big part of this, all right, I'm going to unpack this. I do want to say this as far as successful. I'm literally just, I am not where I want to be. And this is a fact is I literally had $0 and was like, I literally had like nothing, had to mentally and like economically build my way out of that to where I'm at now. Am I successful? Like in some people's perspective, let me say in young James's version, we are definitely on the path. But just recapping some of the clips in there, but because I don't want to make it seem like I've arrived in any sense. But and truly, like Mike is part of it. Like there's so many people along the path that have like helped me tremendously, and I never want to omit that. So had a mentor along the path who told me you never want to transition more than one section of your life at a time. And did not realize that was a truth until after I tried to, bro, he don't know what he's talking about because he's old. I'm going to just kind of do my own thing. And so I literally established a pattern of, nah, I don't like this. And I would just throw it out like without really any thought, just like, nah, I don't like this. And went through just transition. And what I realized was each time I was restarting, because it was so quick, I never gave myself enough time to rebuild after that. And as you guys probably know, most of us are adults listening to this. Each time you transition physical locations, there's deposits involved. There's like, and because you don't like somewhere, well, one, now you're breaking a lease. So that's obviously impacting on the credit. Like I just basically did what I wanted to do for a clip of time. And that was really not smart. That was probably one of the dumbest things I could have done. Truly like whatever I wanted to do. And that was just stupid. So, yeah. And that led me to a point to where, I had a decent job. Cause I went through a couple of the jobs were government. All of them were tied to my previous occupation as far as, maintenance or electrician. So they were making decent money, but just, it wasn't enough time to get really anything saved up. And so, it got to the point to where they were asking me for rent, didn't have it. The lady looked out after me. I've had this, like, I've noticed a theme where, like, if you are young, you can use the young card a couple of times and it might save you. You know, like, people might have some sympathy there. That bought me an extra 45 days before she had to kick me out of the apartment, right? I was up in Raleigh at the time because I transitioned from Virginia down to Raleigh. Raleigh, I like nice things, stayed in an apartment I couldn't afford. It was stupid. That moved me into my car. And all of that to say, while I'm living out of my car, building underneath trying to like find different jobs, I was like, well, let me try this like MLM thing. Like, and so like was building an MLM business, and literally started a conversation with somebody. And the whole point of that is to say, I started a conversation with a real estate agent out of Raleigh named Ben Mathis. It was late as shit, excuse me, but it was so freaking late at a Harris Teeter, a 24-hour Harris Teeter. And he just happened to be there after work because he works late. He works a lot. I don't no clue how our paths crossed, but he is the first person that's somewhat close to my age that legitimately, authentically was like, hey, I'm 29. I'm looking to build a business that produces $1 billion in volume. He had direction. And so for me, I thought that was very interesting. We got in an engaging conversation, exchanged numbers, didn't talk to the dude for another year and a half. Literally from there. And the crazy part is, so that was my lead into real estate, but I didn't know that yet because later on down the line. So I ended up going to get a job down here in Fayetteville at Goodyear and stayed there for about a year before I was like, all right, I can't do this. I hate this. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. If anybody's ever done it, God bless you. If anybody's making a career out of it, you're the best. Not for me. Yeah. After doing that so long, I randomly, I was like, dude, I wonder what he's up to. Gave him a call. He's like, if you want to be in real estate, I'll help you. And so I drove up to Raleigh for several weeks after work, probably like at least once a week, pretending to like have any sense of direction or like wherewithal, because I still hadn't got my finances right. I was just like rocking a suit. Like I had like 2 suits, like, and they probably were like, it was stupid. Like I did not look, it was not like, anyway, I'm not trying to go in on people who wear cheap suits, but we all know people that's wearing dress clothes that it's like, is that your little brother's like vest right there? Like vest, like blazer, like all that stuff that doesn't fit right. But anyway, so we met up for like a good probably 2 months before I started pursuing school. That passed that the first time. And the rest is history, man. Yeah. Well, I'm lying. It was an exciting journey in that too, but it seems like the rest is history now looking back on it. But there was a definite valley in that.
Yeah, hindsight is always 20/20, man. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah.
So now looking back on it, you learned a lot of lessons. You now see the growth, and you're like, well, hey, man, the rest is history. We're still on this climb together. Well, there's a couple different points I'm going to go back and highlight. One of the things you said earlier was that you just realized that you were a bad W-2 employee. And then you also dropped in this little nugget that you're working with an MLM. For those who don't know MLM, it's multi-level marketing. It's something that some people have a negative connotation and they call it a Ponzi scheme, but that's not the case. It's actually a legitimate business as long as you're pursuing it the right way. However, the reason I highlight those two is because inherently that shows you that you were meant to be an entrepreneur, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like you hate working for somebody else building their fortune. You are always looking for an opportunity to build your own. So to me, it seems like it's a perfect segue into real estate or some other entrepreneur job. And then the other two things I wanted to touch on is I love that little quote or that nugget that your mentor gave you, whoever that guy was. It says, you never want to transition one section of your life or more than one section of your life at a time. That is insightful. I've never heard that worded that way, but I mean, think about it. You're doing a job transfer plus whatever. That's right. A lot, man. It gets crazy.
Yo, spiritual, relational, financial, your job, like, so this is the way faith, family, finances, fitness, what's the other F, man? It's 5 F's and then whatever your personal is. Like, I found that truly, whenever you start to transition more than one of those at a time, that's when you start to have like almost like that identity crisis breakdown. like what's going on right now? But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. And you're right, man. I have found truly entrepreneurs tend to people who are, I feel like, naturally grafted to be entrepreneurs tend to find their way somehow to a MLM at some point, typically in today's day and age, man. Like, it's just like,
Because
crazy.
it's
At
such
some
easy
point.
access now. I mean, technology now is
Yeah.
ridiculous. You can do everything from your phone.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately,
Facts.
an entrepreneur is we're a little bit rebellious. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Yep.
Some people tells us we're
Right.
gonna do something one way.
Societal. Oh, wait. Society. A rebel of society. Naturally. I don't know.
What, do
Whatever.
what? We're saying we're not doing nothing illegal, guys. We're just a little rebellious. You know, we like to do things our way. I thought James was about to throw us under the bus. I didn't do it. No, but the another thing I want to hit on before we really get into your real estate, man, is you mentioned about not feeling like you're at a successful level, like by societal norms, right? Based on Little James thinks, hey, man, you're doing a lot better than you were, than we expected you to get. But understanding for everybody listening, guys, success is subjective. Only you can define your success, period. So if you're chasing because you want to be like Mark Zuckerberg, well, you better buckle up, brother, because that's a lot. You got to do a lot to be a Mark Zuckerberg, a lot to be a Steve Jobs. But if you can sit there and say, hey, I've created a lifestyle that now I get to spend time with my children. Now I can, I can go on these vacations I want to. Now I can afford the nice home that I want to. That could be a version of success, but ultimately you have to define that for yourself. So I just wanted to make that little pause there because it's a lot about protecting your peace and not chasing other people's ambitions. Chase your own. But I'm off my soapbox. I just had to put that out there. James, I want you to tell us, man, talk to us now about your real estate, man. Let's talk to you about real estate. You're an agent. I know you're investing a little bit. Tell me about that little story.
The journey.
Oh yeah. Just the journey. Whatever you really want to touch on. Yeah.
All right.
Because you got some impressive.
All right. So I get started. Yeah. Well, I get started in real estate up in February of 18, and was just me. I was at the time Keller Williams. I'm a big believer in mentorship. Like people, mentorship surround that whole I think that's Jim Rohn. Like you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most, or some shit, something like that. Like I really started to understand the power of who you're around will either pull you up or like help anchor you to wherever you're at. And so I went to this conference, basically learned some basic real estate stuff as far as lead sources, because I knew zero in real estate, and then come back and start grinding it. Was working while still working my day job. So 7 p.m., 7 a.m., get off work, and around like 8 o'clock would start making calls until about 1, would sleep for a little bit, then wake up and go to work. And it got to a point to where I was literally sleeping 4 hours at a time. And I have a personal rule I still actually stick to today. If I have stayed up for whatever reason too long and I have to actually get up for an appointment or something like that, if I'm going to get less than 3 hours of sleep, and you just stay up, and which is obviously dangerous when you're working maintenance and whatnot. But it's more important for me to be able to honor my commitment than it is for me to sleep and sleep through an appointment or whatever, right? So that was a crazy time, and then here's the coolest thing, right? Like I got my first couple sales, which for anyone who is looking to pursue becoming an agent, that was a trip. I'll just go with these two. My first listing actually came from, at the time I was a vegetarian, and nothing wrong with that, but I was like, honestly, like still, let me say I was more focused on my health then. And so I went up to this woman in Harris Teeter, had a good conversation. She said something about her house, and I was like, well, I'm a real estate agent, right? Like literally, this was like my first week of being an agent, right? Like, didn't know nothing. I'm a real estate agent. Yo, that net sheet, when I say, so there's a sheet that we give our clients that shows them about how much they're going to walk away with, was about 12 grand off. Fortunately enough, positively. Like I told her she was going to get X number. She got like 12 grand more. She was like, oh, you're great. I just didn't know what I was doing. It was funny. And then my first buyer actually came from door knocking and ended up going into, basically somebody wasted my time because they wanted, and then they felt bad that they wasted my time, and connected me to their mom who was buying a house. So just if you are an aspiring agent, just know that you get business from just about everywhere. After I closed those first 2 deals, those are after my job. I made $5,000 in a week. Can't tell me nothing. Like, those are right. Stupid. When I say absolutely dumb, man, I had no concept of what was coming up next. Because I'm telling you, man, to watch that account slowly bleed out and then get ultimately literally like month after month after month. And for those who don't know, to sell someone's house costs the agent money up front. So, and my business, I knew that I didn't have a lot of time to be showing 1,000,001 houses. So I went very listing heavy. So all of my money was actually wrapped up in the business that wasn't going to close for another 90 days effectively.
Yep.
And, and long story short, man, I literally got to the point to where, and I haven't asked anybody for money, like I don't, period. This was the ultimate. I would probably like, I don't know which I would say is worse. If I had to go back to sleeping like on a roof, which I know I skipped through that, like skipping on a rooftop after my car got totaled, or ask this person for money again, I don't know. I might actually trade a night, man. Like, that was very low for me. I'm like, look, man, like I got this disconnection notice. It's $400. Like, and the only reason why I asked is because it wasn't just me. At the time, me and my ex had kids, and I was trying to be like helpful. Anyway, so I borrowed the money for them, and yeah, fortunately enough, after that, things started to close, and that closed 14 transactions that first 6 months of full-time real estate. And then, and this is why, it's because I had the belief that every agent closed 30 deals a year. Like, no kidding. I thought every agent, and Mike is shaking his head. I literally came into real estate with the belief that everybody, and if you're prior Keller Williams, I thought that everybody quote capped. So I thought everybody sold somewhere between 25 and 30 deals a year. I didn't know that that was uncommon. And so sure enough, 6 months to sell 14. And then after that, my first full year, sold 61 units. And that would put me as number like 70 something out of 2,000 agents here. And just been working ever since.
Boom.
So
guys, you guys got to stop and rewind that. So the beginning, you know, we went from broke to his version of successful. Understand this though. As soon as you got your first little piece of money, he got broke again, right? The lack of financial knowledge, right? That lack of financial knowledge, right back in the gutter. One thing about real estate, this is a dog eat dog world, period. You know, you truly only eat what you kill. 100% commission-based income if you're an agent or a broker. And hell, if you're an investor, you're only going to get paid when you're actually either renting it, flipping it, selling it, so forth and so on. But I'm going to tell you guys, the average real estate agent, mind you, there's thousands upon thousands of real estate agents in Fayetteville alone, let alone in the world. The average, based on the National Association of Realtors, the average realtor sells less than 10 deals a year. Bro.
That's crazy.
10 deals a year. My man James was knocking out 14 his first 6 months, just throwing Goodyear wrenches everywhere, knocking out deals, and then 61 in his first year, man. So that is amazing. That is amazing. Let's talk about that a little bit, man. Let's talk about what you said was leads come from anywhere. I'm a firm believer of this too, but talk to the audience a little bit more about what do you mean by that? What leads come from anywhere? This counts for agents, salespeople, brokers. Get it.
All right. So leads come from anywhere. Cool. I don't know. I'm going to try to paint a picture just because I don't know if most people truly understand, like a mental box of what it's like to truly, everybody, I don't know nobody. Okay, it's almost like most people say I have no friends. And then as soon as you start thinking like, oh, well, I've got Carl and Susie and, you know, like what it's truly like to not know anybody. Like, or what it's truly like to like, again, like live on the roof. Like so I moved from Raleigh to here. The only people I knew was at Goodyear, which was my work, Goodyear and my landlord. And I had a really poor attitude while I was at Goodyear. So none of those people wanted to work with me. So which by the way, attitude is everything. Because if I had been more likable, I could have got a lot more business. I could have used what agents call your sphere, people that are close to you, and I could have gotten business quicker. I actually had to work for mine. Not to say it, and that's an arrogant way to say it, but I built my business with connections that I didn't know. Because again, I'm from Georgia, so everybody's like, oh, you just pull up your phone, you know thousands of people. Everyone I know is in Georgia, Georgia, Ohio, New York, South Carolina. Like no one's in North Carolina, and so I built that with a series of what some would call cold calling to expireds, for sale by owners, anybody like any neighborhood. I did pick certain neighborhoods, and I vividly remember calling through this one neighborhood and not really seeing an immediate return, because in real estate you got to plan that it's going to take time. Everything is relationships take time. I called through this neighborhood and got like what I thought was nothing, which was about, no exaggeration, like probably like 1,500 houses that I called in like a month or so. And this is with still door knocking in the evening and collecting these people's information to add to my database. From that, I've sold about 10 houses in that neighborhood, but it took time for that to turn over. And so money was going down to like none. And then I remember, and so really from June of 18 to like Jan of 19, there was no money in this. My business was consuming all of my money. And I am so glad that I was willing to do that. Like my business was eating, I was every dime reinvesting into yard signs, ultimately like flyers that I shouldn't have been paying for, anything that I thought would work, gas going to appointments, and still supporting my ex's family. Like I was reinvesting into the business. Come Jan 1, a lot of this stuff turned around to where, just deals were closing and things started, okay, there was some breathing room. I could actually, and here's what I did with my breathing room. I paid the contractors that actually kind of like gave me IOUs effectively. I had people that believed in me. So my stager, my photographer, who was like, dude, like, because I had so many listings coming on, like they were like, he's got to get paid at some point.
Right.
So man, like I will stay faithful to Agua Viva Studios, like May Castillo, and Mary Henson, probably like longer than I probably, as long as I'm in business, man. Like loyalty, they had me when I had like nothing, right? And so that was pretty cool. And then so I paid them back, and then had some really good contractors also too, and also found out that was where I actually met a lot of the key relationships that have again turned and exponentially impacted my life. So I met Shelby then, right? Shelby Osborne, that indirectly connected me to you. I also met, which indirectly connected me to Brett, who's another person on my like personal counsel, if you will. And just the power of relationships, man. And so kept grinding it out though, and which for me went actually in waves, because again, I went through, just like everybody, my new rich phase, especially when I made 40 grand in a month. Like nobody could tell me nothing. I went and like literally like mentally checked out for a month, like just like wasn't doing nothing. And I really also still think back to if I was consistent that entire year, because the net result of that was top line around 240 and a little bit more than 240. And after write-offs and stuff, and that's writing off everything, it was around like 170. That's like everything, right? And which again, things to like, if I could give anybody just caution about building a business, if you plan on making money, do some research as far as entities and stuff, because taxes is a bitch. Definitely got, you know what I mean? Like, taxes will mess you up if you're not paying attention or looking for that. And I just didn't know what I didn't know. Yep. Again, had to meet people who did know, who put me on to people. My strength is not in accounting, so had to ultimately figure some stuff out. And definitely am grateful for that, to where at this point and along the path bought one personal property, and I'm closing on two more this week, which will make 3 in 2 years. And this is from somebody who, my mom doesn't own a house. Like, I'm literally talking about buying my mom a house this year. Like, that is, we have a plan we're working towards to get my mom a house this year. So it's like, I'll have, if nothing else changed, like the 3 personal ones, and then my mom, I'm going to have the finances to help her do that, and do some donating to the military that I want to do. And also support the team. So it's just like some cool things have come from the work, is all.
And you went from, so to recap that in a summary, guys, we're talking homeless, living on a roof, right? To clearing 6 figures, high 6 figures, and owning 3 rental properties in less than 2 years, all through straight up hustle and grinding. Everybody still to this day says cold calling doesn't work, says door knocking doesn't work. Well, if you guys do your research, there's a conversion rate out there. I'm just gonna give a little tidbit. When we train our agents, we educate them that the conversion rate is for every 50 cold calls you make, for every 50 cold contacts, you can convert 1 into a lead, right? So if you want to get forward, that means you got to contact 200. This dude went out and contacted over 1,500 people to get 10 deals in the neighborhood. That just shows like the grind. So for all those who are just saying like, hey, I can't do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can, because this is a perfect story. And then for those of y'all looking for taxes, this is the quick little plug. We got a podcast episode with Nick Aola. He is awesome, and he goes deep into about real estate taxes, very specifically for investors. So definitely keep that in mind. I want to ask you, man. All this is great. Your mind shifts over time has really helped, or are you accredited to some of your mentors, some of your teammates, and things of that nature. Is there any books that you really want to credit, like as far as being able to shift your mind from saying like, hey, I'm the one responsible for my future? Is there any books like that?
Yes, short answer. And the reason why I started to laugh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I can go walk you to that, or go grab that right now.
No, you're good, man. I got this book from James, guys. So I was hoping he was going to drop a plug on it.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, look, bro, I got a whole nother copy delivered, bro. Yeah. So Psycho-Cybernetics is huge. Psycho-Cybernetics is good. Richest Man. So the reason I started to laugh though is because the only thing that I kept as I was going through my journey of not having anything was whatever clothes I can carry with me, and this military duffel bag full of books, which is extremely heavy, by the way. Like, I don't know, like full of books, like, because I just knew like those books were what was really gonna allow for me to be able to become what I wanted to, what I was pursuing. So top of mind, Psycho-Cybernetics, Crucial Conversations. Oh, you know what's crazy? The greatest miracle. It's a Agmandino book. The Greatest Miracle. I can't think of it. But something with it's a blue book, Agmandino. It's like The Greatest Miracle Ever, or something, some corny name that you're like, what's another one, man? A lot of John Maxwell, but like, for me, I over time had to change my thought of, which I've always been like, I've never liked it when somebody points the finger, but truly as I started to realize, and also too, people skills was huge for me since I was the weird guy in school. Like, so, man, like, no kidding. Like, Florence Littauer has a book, Personality Plus. There's a spiritual version of that too that talks about temperaments. Dude, there's so many books that at first I had to get like an understanding of people, like just human, like people. Another good one on that is actually, I like Robert Greene's Laws of Human Nature. That's also pretty solid. But I had to like figure out first me, then other people. Oh, how did I forget this one? 7 Habits. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is like, there's not, oh, and of course, the generic, like, Think and Grow Rich. You know, like, all of the Master Keys to Riches, like, all the Napoleon Hill, like, PMA stuff, like, that is, that people will, like, low-key, like, laugh at you for reading because it's, like, almost, like, too corny. It is, unless you are dumb enough to actually start believing it, and then you can change your life.
Yeah, and I love that because, as you can tell, leaders are readers, right? Like, essentially, everybody that we've had on this episode, everybody that we, you know, look up to in the real estate investing world or in the real estate agency world, all of them have contributed a large majority of their success to books, to some sort of constant education. So if people, you know, think you're corny or whatever for reading, it's like, okay, guys, but let's look at where we are now and where we'll both be a year, 2 years from now, when we're constantly pursuing development, professional development, self-development, whatever the case is, man. So I love it, man. All right, now, you know, we're getting closer towards the end here. So I wanted to ask you, man, if you could give one piece of advice for the young buck coming into the military, right? Regardless if it's junior officer or lower enlisted, what would be one piece of advice that you would give them?
I would probably say something to the degree of, because I'm trying to break it down to, because not be that guy who has like, oh, and this, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? The most crucial one that I can think is self-awareness and the willingness to do something about it. I think that if you have that, then everything else will work out. Self-awareness, and what I mean when I say that is true honesty with self as far as whatever the goals may be. Truly, this is what I want, or this isn't what I want, right? This is who I am. This is not who I am. And the true willingness to do something about it, in a sense of, okay, this is what I want. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory, actually. The willingness to do something about that, like, if okay, and which I guess I can't say and, because that makes it more than one, but and what that means is, if that's true to you, is if something's not going your way, it's truly because of what you're allowing in your life, and that will prompt you to change it. Like, okay, this is frustrating me. This is something I don't want. As long as you are self-aware and willing to do something about it, it will lead to a more accountable thought process, and it'll work out, I think, personally.
And, that's actually a really good point. We talk about it a lot within our small group, as well as it's essentially extreme ownership in the same context, that understanding that when something is wrong, turn the mirror on yourself first. Let's reflect first and just realize that a lot of the times you have the power to affect change in your life. That's awesome, man. All right, so you dropped a lot of good nuggets, man, but people out there, they want to talk to you, man. They want to know, how you grew so fast. They might want to, reach out and ask for some investment tips, or maybe one of those 85 books you mentioned. Where can they find you?
Me personally, don't text me. I got it. Email me at Red Clover. Nope. Do my personal one. James.m as in Martin Patrick 93 @gmail.com. Or, of course, like, if you just want to find out the team, we do have a Facebook, Red Clover Realty Group, and we are building a site. And the only reason why that's not up is because your boy there's a admin task on my plate that I can't push off, and so because I haven't done that, they can't run the site. So I've been the linchpin for this for like a week and a half. It's not funny, but that's exactly why I've admin now.
All right, awesome, man. So we're definitely going to have all that information down in the show notes, guys. And if that website is up, we'll definitely have that.
When that is ready, it's going to be redcloverrealtygroup.com, whenever that may be.
Okay. So we'll have it in there.
I don't know.
It'll be active, but the link's going to be in there. So don't worry about that, guys. All right. Well, With that being said, guys, we're wrapping up the show here. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you already know what to do. Go ahead and give us that like, smash the subscribe button so you know what's going on. Hit the notification bell so you are always getting updated with the newest videos. And it also helps with the algorithm. If you guys are watching on or listening to any type of podcast, we got to get us 5 stars, man. And leave us a review and leave us some comments. And also, our Facebook page is growing rapidly. Military Cash Flow, the Facebook page. We're now over, I believe, 700 servicemen and women. And we've only been active for a few short months, guys. So get on there. There's many different servicemen and women, past and present, with all different levels of experience and insight. So get in there and add to the community. And lastly, as you're aware, if you are looking for a realtor in your market, you want somebody that's investor savvy, somebody like James, right? That can help you get that next property. Let us know. We've already vetted several agents across the nation, and we are willing to and always vetting more agents in different areas. So we can help you kind of source that out. It's something that's completely free to you. Don't worry about it. Just let us know.